If you don't hear anything else from this video, hear this. January does not require a reset button. It requires some clarity. And the truth is, you don't have to wait till January to reset at all. Most people don't need more motivation right now. They need permission to stop overcomplicating things. So today, I want to talk about how I reset after the holidays and stay strong. Not on a calendar, not on a countdown, but by returning to what actually works. Welcome back to Goforth&Carnivore. I'm Jordan, sharing my real life and real results along the carnivore journey. I'm not sharing perfection, I'm just sharing what my story is and the consistency that I try to carry. So I want you to know that December isn't the problem. The holidays don't ruin progress. What ruins progress is the story we tell ourselves after we fail, the aftermath of what has occurred. Schedules change, social events stack up, and our routines, they get out of whack. And before you know it, people convince themselves, hey, I've fallen off, why go back? But a few days out of rhythm doesn't throw off months or years of the consistency you tried to carry. Progress doesn't just disappear because the calendar suddenly says December, or even going as far as December 31st. And this happens to almost everyone, whether they're willing to admit it or not. Not because they're weak, not because they lack discipline, but because their life just got insane for a season. Trust me, I get it. Flexibility isn't the issue. The issue is when flexibility turns into hesitation, and then hesitation turns into stopping altogether. We give ourselves that excuse. And I'll be honest, my routine wasn't perfect over the holidays. There were late nights, different schedules, and events that I don't even think our calendar could have even managed because they stacked up so high. But here's what didn't happen this time. I didn't question if this lifestyle actually works. There was no spiral, and there was no, well, I'll restart another day. I'll restart next week. I simply returned to the basics because I already knew that they worked. And this is where I think a lot of people get tripped up. Because this is a reset, not a restart. A restart says I failed, but a reset says I made some mistakes, but I'm still continuing on this journey. You don't need a dramatic comeback. You don't need to punish yourself for what happened, and you don't need permission to come back to the club. You just simply reset. You need clarity. Clarity to reset. If you're resetting right now, like I'm trying to do, your best bet is simplicity. You need same meals, same grocery list to be able to meal prep and get things ready ahead of time to know what you're going to have. Same routines, almost to the point where it's boring, to where you are creating something that you were able to maintain rather than something that you get lost in. It may not be the most exciting thing, but I can sit here and tell you by my own experience, it is rewarding. It's effective. Most people struggle in January because they're trying to cram so much in at once. Life is already insane. If you stick to the basics in carnivore, you're not throwing another curveball, you're actually simplifying things. This might sound crazy, but the fastest way to regain consistency is to make it boring again. And here's another fundamental. Most people don't fall off because they're hungry. They fall off because they're tired of deciding. What should I eat? Is this okay? Is this truly carnivore or is this ketovore? Or am I going to make an exception here? Strong seasons are made by reducing decisions, not by increasing some willpower that you probably don't have. You have to build up to that. So what can you do? Eat before events. Say no without having to explain yourself. And I know that's very awkward to do sometimes. And I say that with caution because that excludes the very important people in your life. I'm saying if someone's just inviting you to dinner and you don't have the willpower to say no to things you're going to, just say no, we're not going to do that tonight. You don't have to explain why. And the craziest part is stop negotiating with yourself. You tell yourself, as long as I do this one thing, that I won't do that, rather than just saying, hey, here's what we are going to do. We're not negotiating about this. We are going to do this. We are keeping it simple. We're eating meat and meat products. And this is why I love the idea that change doesn't have to wait until January. Health doesn't work on a calendar. That's why I love the 90s country song, Time Marches On. Because while in your head you think, okay, as long as I start on this date, I'll start on another time. But time's still marching on. Your health isn't working on that calendar. Your health is dependent on the now. Consistency doesn't need a countdown. Doesn't need a ticker to tell you you're doing it right. If you're watching this on December 30th, January 3rd, or even May 15th, this still applies. The reset starts the moment you stop negotiating and returning back to what actually works. On 12/28, the date that I'm recording this, is a huge day in my family, because 12 years ago, on December 28th of 2013, I skated onto that Devon ice rink. I proposed to my future wife, and I had to do a reset then, because in just 8 short months, I'd be a husband, and I knew that I had to change some health things. Did I stay consistent then? No, but it was a moment that I had to step into a reset. We all have seasons that we need to step into a reset. So I have a quick question for you, and I'd love to hear this in the comments. Know that no matter when you're watching this, the reset doesn't need a calendar. Comment below. Are you in a season of reset, or are you in a season where you're maintaining consistency? What does a reset look like for you? For me, it looks like fasting for at least 24 hours, if not 36 hours, to get all that junk out of my system that caused me to fail in the first place. And so that's just something that I quickly run to when I just need a very quick reset, as well as changing the eating habits and going back to the basics. So what does that look like for you? And I need you to understand that when motivation fades, the why is what carries you. Not the scale, not the mirror. It's your energy, it's your health, it's your family, it's the loved ones that surround you, and your ability to show up consistently. These are some of my whys. This lifestyle works best when it supports your life, not becomes the main event. So you need to know, if you slipped over the holidays, you're not behind. And if you stayed consistent, don't get complacent. Either way, you need to know that today still counts. You don't need a perfect December. You don't need a perfect January. You need a consistent one that you can look back and know that you tried your hardest, that you weren't waiting for a date to restart, but you had a reset from that very moment you realized that you needed to do it. If this video helped reset your mindset, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and shared it, especially with someone who's in that I'll start over later loop that we just keep circling back to. And if you want real life carnivore, not hype, not perfection, just consistency, go ahead and subscribe, because that's exactly what we're doing here. Drop a comment below. Let me know at what season you're at right now. Whether you're resetting, staying steady, or somewhere in between, know that you're welcome here, because I'm probably right there with you, depending on what day you're watching this. We're not starting over, we're moving forward. So join me next week as we continue walking this out together. Not perfectly, just consistently. And until next time, go forth and carnivore. Happy New Year, everyone.